Nissan was a pioneer in the electric car game, but there's a revolution going on in the electric car market. Things have changed, and Nissan's next EV up is this Nissan Ariya, and we've lived it now for 3 months to find out if it can compete with the big guns from China and the mighty Tesla. So one thing I like about this Nissan Ariya is the cabin fit out. There's one word that could probably describe the cabin, and that's premium. Nissan has nailed the brief. There are plenty of top-end materials used throughout, such as this faux suede material that runs along the dash and on the door trims. An imitation wood veneer-like material complements the plush synthetic suede and covers some of the hard-wearing areas. There are also some harder plastic surfaces, but they are outnumbered by the good stuff. It's also good to see the quality continues through to the back row, which is where car makers usually try to cut costs. One thing I really like about this Ariya is the cabin space. It has a really roomy and spacious interior. And you got oodles of head, shoulder, legs room. You got this big space down here. It also translates into the back seat where there's lots of legroom as well for growing teenagers. I've managed to fit front and rear facing child seats in the back without them cutting into the front seat passenger space. And taller passengers won't have much of a problem either. And a big panoramic sunroof has a proper headliner that blocks out the summer sun, which is really important in Australia. One thing I really like about this car is Nissan covers it with a 10-year, 300,000 kilometre warranty. That's bigger than anything else on the market. But there is one catch. You do have to service it at a Nissan dealer every time. Otherwise, it reverts back to a 5-year guarantee. But Nissan sweetens the deal with some cap price servicing that costs about $300 per visit for the first 5 workshop visits. Now that's built-in value that's hard to beat. So one thing I do like about this car is the way it drives. It has really nice steering, it's well balanced, it's got a nice weight to it, so you feel really composed when you're going through the corners. It also has great body control, so what that means is all that weight of the battery is underneath you, and when you're going through the corners, especially if you find a nice twisty back road somewhere, it kind of holds its line really nicely through the corners, and it feels more agile than it should, considering it's quite a heavy thing. And it has decent acceleration. It's not express, but it's probably exactly what a family mid-size SUV should be. We're not talking about a Porsche 911 here, so I think this thing is just as fast as it needs to be. And I quite also enjoy the single pedal mode, which Nissan calls e-pedal. And what that means is you effectively accelerate and brake just with the one pedal. So to go, you obviously press down on the accelerator. To brake, you lift off the accelerator and you'll come to a complete stop. And it's quite easy to get the hang of, really. You kind of learn very quickly when you need to start pulling off to come to a complete stop. And another benefit of that e-pedal is that it ups the regenerative braking, which really supercharges the battery by feeding extra juice back in just from stopping. And that's always a good thing when we're talking about a car that doesn't have the best range going around. One thing I don't like about this Nissan Ariya is the driving range. Nissan claims the Ariya's 87 kilowatt hour battery can deliver a driving range of up to 487 kilometers. In the real world, you'd probably be edging closer to 400 kilometers, which is far from ideal. Most of the time we've had this car, we've seen energy usage of 21 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers or even higher, which doesn't cut the mustard anymore, especially against new arrivals and established makers such as the Tesla Model Y and Zeekr 7X. One thing I don't like about this Ariya is there isn't much storage options. So despite it having quite a roomy cabin, there isn't the nooks and crannies that you expect from a car that kind of feels this big. So the glove box is on the narrow side. The center console here only has 2 drink holders here, and this is just for your phone and a tiny little tray there. So there is the excess storage down here, but again, it's on the smaller side. There are some decent sized bins in the doors, which can fit a bottle or your notepad or whatever you need. And the same kind of goes for the back. There isn't a whole lot of options, which is a little bit disappointing and does cut back on the family practicality element if you need to carry around lots of junk like most families do. One of the other things that's a little bit odd about this cabin is the haptic buttons here. So a lot of car makers are going away from these now after 4 or 5 years. So they look really nice. They're all lit up there and they look fancy, but they don't work as well as traditional buttons or dials. So they give little bits of feedback, but they don't quite feel as nice and tactile as old school buttons. And car makers are starting to put those back in cars. So this does start to feel a little bit dated as well by the fact it still has those. Now, one of the other things that I don't particularly like about this Nissan Ariya is the boot size. So our top of the range Evolve model is an all-wheel drive, and that cuts into the boot space because it needs more room for the second motor here at the back. And so it's only got about 408 litres, which is about 60 litres less than the single motor versions in this range, but it's substantially less than you'd get in, say, a Toyota RAV4 hybrid or a Zeekr 7X or a Tesla Model Y. And it really cuts into the family friendliness of it because once you put a big pram in there, there's not too much room left for anything else. And another thing is, like most EVs, there is no spare tyre. You end up just dealing with a fiddly repair kit, no spare tyre, and that simply isn't good enough. One thing I don't like about this car is it has a bit of a floaty ride. So the suspension can struggle to keep its more than 2.2 tons of weight in check. And so it can feel a bit bumpy and a bit rocky, you know, front to back, side to side. And look, that's pretty normal for an EV, but this is on the looser side, I would say. So unless you have some really advanced adaptive suspension, most EVs are going to struggle with this exact same thing. But this Nissan, it's better in the single motor versions from what I've experienced. That saves about 150 kilos of weight and it feels a lot more balanced then. But this dual motor Evolve that I have right now, it does feel a little bit floaty because it is such a heavy beast. And that weight also dulls some of the performance of it. So that dual motor, it's not particularly quick when we think of dual motor electric cars such as the Tesla Model Y Performance, or even something like the Zeekr 7X all-wheel drive. Now, one thing I don't like about this Nissan Ariya is it feels a bit old and a bit expensive. So it launched overseas 4 years ago, but was denied to Aussies because it didn't meet our specific design rules. So while it might be new to us, it's not the newest EV out there on the market. It costs about $72,000 plus on roads for our top of the range version, which is pretty standard for an EV of this caliber. But it can't compete with the new brand of Chinese rivals such as the Zeekr 7X, which are cheaper, more high-tech, faster charging, and have a longer range. So it's a hard sell against some of these new brands entering our market right now. Now, the Ariya doesn't do a lot wrong, but it also doesn't top the field in nearly any category except one very important one, and that's that 10-year warranty. And if that kind of guarantee is worth a lot to you, then the Nissan has to be on your list. But if you want something that's faster charging, has a longer range, is more high tech, there might be better options out there for you.